Hey folks, it's me, Michael Bach, your diversity dude, and this is Monday Morning Musings. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you're safe and healthy. I wanted to talk about something that I was hearing about on social media, and it has me a bit concerned. And that is the difference between racism and anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism. And there are some people online who are saying, oh, racism for one is racism for all, and that it affects all people of color. Yes, in fact, racism does. In fact, all people of color. But there is a difference experienced by Black and Indigenous peoples as it relates to racism. And I want to be very clear. I'm not an expert on racism. I'm just a guy trying to help people understand a little better. So let's start with a definition of the word racism. This is from Merriam-Webster. And they define racism as a belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. They also say a doctrine or political program based on the assumption of racism and designed to execute its principles, and a political or social system founded on racism. So if I dumb it a little down for me, what I read into that is racism is the belief that a person is either greater than or less than because of their race and or ethnocultural identity. So what's anti-Black racism or anti-Indigenous racism? Well, Centennial College has this great page on their website, and I'll post a link down below. And they say that anti-Black racism is prejudice, attitudes, beliefs, stereotyping, or discrimination that is directed at people of African descent and is rooted in their unique history and experience of enslavement and colonization. There are two words that jump out of that sentence to me: enslavement, colonization. Arguably, in this country, the experiences of slavery and colonization have impacted, in particular, Black and Indigenous people far more than any other community. And for those of you who don't think slavery happened in Canada, it did last a couple hundred years. Move on. The way I break it down is that the difference between regular, plain old racism, and anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism is circumstance and severity. The circumstance of colonization and enslavement that has scarred communities for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. We have never seen reconciliation for Black Afro-Caribbean people, either in this country or in the United States, for slavery. And arguably, reconciliation with our Indigenous people is in its infancy at best. And severity is just that. It's about the number, the frequency of racist events that occur among Indigenous and Black people in comparison to others. And if you don't believe me, let me introduce you to three people. On Wednesday, June 10th, Robert Fuller, a 24-year-old Black man from Palmdale, California, was found hanging from a tree in a public square near the Palmdale City Hall. The initial cause of death was determined to be suicide, but it's largely believed, particularly because of where his body was found, that this was in fact a murder. I have to agree. Rodney Levi, a 40-year-old member of the Metapenagia First Nation, and I hope I said that right, in New Brunswick, was shot and killed by RCMP officers on Friday, June 12th. He was having an apparent mental illness episode. Rayshard Brooks, a 27-year-old Black man, was shot and killed by Atlanta police officers also on Friday, June 12th. Brooks was found asleep in his car in a Wendy's parking lot. He had resisted arrest and had managed to get a taser away from one of the officers. Brooks fled, and then when he turned to fire the taser at the officers, they shot him. 3 men, 2 days. 2 Black, 1 Indigenous. Did you hear about any incidents of South Asian people being killed by police? East Asian? Middle Eastern? Need I go on? The reality is that in 2 days, 2 Black men and 1 Indigenous man were killed by police. It's pretty simple. If you go through the number of names, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Chantel Moore, and now Robert Fuller, Rodney Levi, and Rayshard Brooks, all Black and Indigenous people, killed by police. That's why it is so important that we don't try to generalize and play down the fact that what we're seeing is anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism. I'm not suggesting that racism doesn't happen for other people. Absolutely it does. But what we're seeing right now is targeted racism, systemic racism that affects, in particular, Black and Indigenous folks. And we have a need and a responsibility to call that out. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a fantastic week. Please remember to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link and share this video on your social media platforms. And like it. Click the like button. Always appreciate a like. Remember to connect with me on social media. I am at DiversityDudeMB, and with CCDI, they are at CCDI Social. And also remember to check out the podcast, Talking to Canadians, available wherever you get your podcasts or at talkingtocanadians.ca. And check out the links below. I've posted articles about each of these men who died in the past week. We have to keep saying their names. We have to remember them. We cannot let this moment pass. Stay safe. I'll see you next week for another episode of Morning Musings.